use the left document. So basically, you are going to use an IDE, in this case Eclipse, for your development of your Java application. So, having a reasonably good understanding on how to use an IDE in an effective manner is actually making a big difference in terms of your productivity. So we're going to actually cover a few things in this lab in terms of usage of Eclipse. Okay? For those of you who are using NetBeans, there is a comparable hands-on lab for that as well. Okay. All right, so let's actually try with the exercise 0. So exercise 0 is the same exercise that you have done with the Java SE input key.zip file. So basically, this is the so you can use the same project where you can import it again. So when you run the application, basically it just pop up this JPassion pane. So you type the name and then click, then it will just use the JPassion show message to display the message. So if you take a look at the code is pretty straightforward. Okay. Right, so that's the sample application we are going to use. So let's actually do exercise 1. So here we're going to take a look at few editing features of the Eclipse IDE. So we're going to actually try refactoring of the name, and we're going to actually take a look at error stripe, code templates, and the camel hump code completion, and new format of profile, and then actually formatting. All right, so now here, let's actually do a simple refactoring. So it looks like I have done the refactoring already. So if you want to change particular variable, the name of the variable or name of the method, you can actually change by doing a refactoring. So basically, you right-click the name. So I'm going to refactor, and then there is the rename here. Or you can just say Alt-Shift-R. So here, basically, I'm going to just, in your case, you should have a name, but I have already changed it. So I'm going to change it back again to, Alt-Shift-R. Then I'm going to just change it to name like this. So you can see all the references to that name has been changed. Okay? So I'm going to change it back to name username as well. So again, Alt-Shift-R, and here I'm going to change username. Okay? Oops. Like this, and now it has been changed to username. So this refactoring should work with the method name or variable name or the class name and all those things. Okay? So we're just using this rename feature for a variable. Okay, so that's refactoring. Error stripe is basically whenever there is an error. Well, you have already seen these things many times, right? So if you just happen to have some kind of syntax error, right, then it actually gives you what kind of errors is actually related to the particular line. Right? So that is error stripe. Okay? So by looking at these things, you can actually reasonably find out what's going on. Okay? So Control Z is change things back. So that's what we have done. Code template. So we have seen code template like sysout. So let me actually just to show you the sysout. And you can see sysout, and then you press the enter, then it actually gives me the system out println things, right? Okay, so there are in fact many code templates you can take advantage of. Okay, and now we want to create our own code template as well. So the way you can do is you go to Windows, Preferences, and you expand Java, and then there is Editor here. Okay. And the editor, and then template. So this is the template. So basically, you can see, there are many templates. Okay, so the one that I just used is sysout, right? So if you take a look at sysout, let's take a look at sysout. So whenever I type sysout and press enter or control space, this is going to be the replacing sysout in the editor. Okay. So if I want to create my own, okay, so I'm going to say new, okay, and let's say my own, something like that, and the pattern, so what kind of pattern I want to use. So, okay, so I want to just have a string X or something like that, okay. So I want to just have a string X and Y, okay? Something like this, and this is dummy template code, something like that. So I create my own template. So I click OK, and then OK here. Now if I say my own, and then that template will be replaced with the actual contents of the template. Right? So that is code template, and you can actually see. Yeah, so this is what I just did, and yeah, so this out I just showed you. Okay. You know, then you can certainly try a few other things as well, like a switch. Yeah, so when you type switch and enter, then it actually gives you the switch statement. Or if you say try, it gives you a try and catch block. Right? So this is something we're going to actually cover in our exception handling presentation. So this is a switch statement. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just say Control Z to remove these changes. Okay. Okay. All right, the next one is camel hump code completion. So whenever you have, like if you type ISR, it will actually let you choose from any classes that has this ISR as the capital. Okay, so let's actually try ISR. Yeah, so in fact there is only one class that meets that requirement. What about the J option pane? So if you see J option pane, it's like a J, capital O, and JP, right? So if I say JOP, and it will actually give me a J option pane class. Okay, so this is basically a convenience. If you know, instead of typing the class name completely, you can just type the capital letters of that class, and then it will give you that class right in the editor. Okay, so that's a camel hump code completion. Okay, so that is, we just did that. And creating a new formatter profile. Right now, the default profile is using 4 spaces for the tab. Okay, but I want to actually have the 2 spaces for the tab. So I want to actually create my own profile. So Eclipse doesn't let you change the existing profile, so you have to create a brand new one. Okay, so let's actually create the brand new profile in which I want to set the number of spaces for the tab to be 2 spaces rather than 4. Okay, so you go to again Windows Preferences, and again we go to Java, and then we go to Code Style here, and then Formatter. Okay, so right now it's actually using there seems like a my profile, so I'm going to create a brand new one. So Sang's profile. Okay. All right, so I create a Sang's profile. Okay. Now, for now the tab size is 4, so I want to change this tab size to 2. Okay, and then I apply. Okay, so that gets applied. So now you can see so it's applied. Okay, so now if I do the formatting, so the formatting is a control. So we did this one. Formatting is the Control Alt F. I'm sorry, this Shift Control F. Okay. So basically, you want to format. So source and formats is Control Shift F. So Control Shift F will actually using my profile now is using 2 spaces. The Control Shift formatting also actually perform the indentation as well. So suppose I have incorrectly done indentation, and I say Control Shift F, and then it will set the correct formatting. Okay. All right. So that is exercise 1. All right. So I'm gonna actually stop right here. Okay. So let's move on. Next one is the exercise 2 is focusing on code navigation. Well, we are dealing with a very simple application. We have a single class, so it might not be that much actually, a big deal. But typically, you're going to deal with an application development with hundreds of classes and many packages and things like that. So code navigation is pretty important in a reasonably good size application development. The first thing people do the most, the one thing people do the most in a reasonably good size application development environment is finding a class. So that is for Control-Shift-T, that's opening a type. So basically finding a class, right? So if you do Control-Shift-T, it will just give you, the dialog box here, and you can just type anything like, if you type IN, it will give you all the classes that are relevant, that starts with the IN. So, you can just give more typing or characters, and it will just narrow things down. So if I want to find, for example, my class input from keyboard or something like that, and so now by just having input FR, it actually finds the class and then it opens it. Okay. Again, since we have a single class, it probably not is a big deal. But again, if you go to many classes, this is actually pretty useful. Show in. So if you right click show in and then take a look at the show in here, you can actually see the file from zip repositories or from package explorer, from a history perspective, or navigator perspective, or project explorer, or you can actually see system explorer. So I want to actually see where this file is located in my file system. So if I click this guy, you are going to see the file location. So it's in this file location, src main java src me hello. And if I go up here, oh yeah, so this is yeah, so you can actually see where that file is located, like this. Okay, so showing give you a different way of actually looking at the file from the different perspective. Okay. Let's show in the open declaration is basically displaying the source file. So we have done this one already. So if you want to take a look at the source of, for example, string class, basically you move your cursor to string class, and then you press F3. Okay, and so this is the string class source. If I want to see the source of serializable, then I do F3 again. Okay, all right. Now, in many cases, you don't actually go back and forth between the files that you have seen. So that is Alt left and Alt right. So it's jump list. Okay. By the way, all these things is actually available from the menu. Okay. So if you go to navigate, basically there are many options. So if you want to actually see previous files, so I say Alt left. Okay. And if I want to go to the I'm going to the right in a sense, right? So you can use Alt left and Alt right to go back and forth between the files that you have seen. Okay? Again, you can see that on the navigation. So that is the Alt left and Alt right. Okay, so back and forward. Okay. The last one is a quick access. So Eclipse has these quick access things here. So it just kind of searches like the find things in Windows, okay, or Mac. Okay, so if I say IN, it will give me all kinds of. It could be it's something from the editor, something from the views, from the perspective commands, and all that stuff. So if I wanted to see the editors, basically again input from. Okay, so again, there's only one thing. So from the editors, I can take a look at the file. Okay, so quick access is a quick access to everything within the IDE, including the files that you are looking for. Okay, so that's a quick access. Okay, so I'm going to actually move forward with the debugging, and I'll let you guys to do the exercise. Okay, so just like any IDE, Eclipse lets you do source code level debugging, and in many cases, when the logic is not working, and that's the time you might in fact have to perform debugging, because just by looking at the code it's rather difficult to find out what's going on, right? So at that point, you want to do source code level debugging so that you can find out what's going on. So we can actually do very simple debugging here, okay? So basically I'm going to make a breakpoint on this line 18. So in order to make a breakpoint, you can just double click here, or you can right click and then toggle breakpoint, okay? So I make a breakpoint here, right? And then I'm going to run the debugger. So I say debug instead of run. I'm going to run the debugger. So I run the debug, okay? So it will pop up the JPassion pane things. So I'm going to say Sang and OK. So now it should hit the breakpoint. So now you're actually seeing debugger screen. Okay. So now in the debugger screen, so this is the source code, and this is the variables. So typically you're gonna actually find out whether the variable contains the right value, and obviously username variable contains Sang. Okay, so that is correct. Okay. So if I want to, in fact, you can even change the value of this variable right in the debugger. Okay, so instead of Sang, I'm going to change it to JPassion, something like that. So I change it. Okay, and now you can actually perform resume. Resume is gonna resume the processing, or you can step over. So it's gonna actually go to the next line, something like that. Okay. We're gonna just resume to see what happens. Okay, so now you can see it's displaying JPassion instead of Sang. Okay, it's a very simple debugging session here. But this debugging actually applies to any code you have in your application. So if you have hundreds of classes, you make a breakpoint. You can actually have multiple breakpoints. And whenever it hit the breakpoint, then you can actually perform step-by-step of debugging to find out what is going on. Okay. All right. So that is the debugging. Let's see. Yeah, we just did that. Let me actually finish up the exercise for project management, and I'll let you guys do some exercise. In many cases, you want to perform, let me actually get back to Java perspective, okay? In many times, you want to create a brand new project from existing projects. So that's the time you want to create the that's the time you want to copy existing projects. So let me just show you how to do that. So you right click, this is the Maven project, okay? But this copying things should work regardless of, whether that is a Maven project or native Eclipse project, okay? So you right click it and you say copy, okay? And then, you say paste, okay? So this is the name of the project name. So instead of copy of something, I'm gonna say my input from keyboard output panel project 2 or something like that, okay? So, it's going to create this project on the default location. So in this case, user Sang workspace / my input from keyboard 2 project. Okay. Now, if you want to actually create in your own location, okay, one thing that you have to be careful is that suppose I want to create in the temp directory, you have to actually provide this project location as well, because that's where it's going to create project metadata. Okay, so that is something you should be careful of, and then it actually create the project 2. And typically, you want to also create the, if it is a Maven project, you want to change the POM file as well, because, the Eclipse is not intelligent enough to change the artificial ID of POM project. I mean, Maven project. So you want to actually change this guy to like a 2, right? And then you save it. And, when you run the application, it should work. Okay, so Java application and thing, and yeah, it works. Okay. All right. So that's the way that you can copy a project. You can rename the project. So I want to rename this guy. So you say right-click it, and then refactor. What is a refactor? Refactor and rename. Again, it's Alt-Shift-R, so I can just use Alt-Shift-R, and I can change it to project 3. Okay, so the name has been changed. Okay, but again, POM file, if it's a Maven project, you have to manually change the project artificial ID. I'm sorry, artifact ID. Okay, and save the change. Okay, so that is renaming a project. And of course, you can delete the project. Right click it and you just delete it. And you have an option of deleting the source file. Okay, so if you just delete the project, it's gonna just delete the meta information from the project directory, but the actual source code is still there. If you wanna delete the source code as well, then you can just click this guy. Okay, that's deleting the project. You can run the project at the command line. So let's, if it is a Maven project, you go to the project location. Oh, actually, that's actually for NetBeans only. Okay, so I should actually remove this guy. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna add, for your exercise, try to instead of actually, the hello JPassion, use your own name or something like that. Okay. Okay, so I'll give you guys 10 minutes to do the remaining exercises.